everyone, welcome back to Eternal Midnight, and we're finally here. We've been talking about it for like months and we've referenced it, and now this April we are transforming and rolling out. I am Santino here with Chad. What's going on, man?
Yo, what's up?
And we are finally talking the first two Transformers movies. So before we even get into it, I just want to ask you, Chad, how did you get into Transformers? Like, what was your story, man? Like, were you an '80s kid who watched it, or let me know.
So, growing up, I was more of a Ninja Turtles guy, but Transformers would come on sometimes. I didn't watch a lot of it, but I got big into Transformers toys when Beast Wars came out, an extremely underrated show. I don't care that the CGI is outdated. But me and my friends, we were like, Transformers, you almost had to be like, kind of like a kid in the 80s to enjoy them, because like I was born in the 80s, so it was like by the time I was old enough to like understand how to like transform a Transformer, Beast Wars were out. And so things just kind of, hey, it was what it was. And then when the first movie came out, it was like, we're getting a live action Transformers movie. All right, this is going to be awesome. And then it was, like the first, second, third, fourth, fifth, and we can get into like initial reactions for each one when we get to it. Because honestly, I had completely different reactions to each one coming out. So we should cover those when we hit each individual movie. But yeah, when it came to being an 80s kid and the original like comics, toy line, and cartoon, it was a little earlier than me.
Okay, well,
What about you?
Mine was completely different. I had no knowledge of what Transformers was before 2007 when it came out. So, and if you know about me, if you've been long enough in my channel, I've talked about like how I got into film. Like, and as a little kid, I never was interested in in popular things that the kids were interested in back then. I hated superheroes. I hated cars. I hated sci-fi. I liked magic, and that was it. I liked Harry Potter and that Wizarding World. That was it. It was when I remember this so clearly. It was such a vivid memory for me. My mom picked me up from school on a Friday, and she was shopping. She was window shopping in a mall, and I was roaming around, and I saw in the cinema a little TV advertising. Oh, next week Transformers, and that one shot of Optimus Prime's hands coming out of the truck. I was like, okay, that's cool. I have to watch this now. So I told my mom, I was like, can we watch Transformers next week? It's like, yeah, sure. I'll pick it up in school Friday afternoon. We'll watch it. So then we watch it, and man, in my 6-year-old brain, the very first shot of Blackout transforming, I was like, this is the greatest movie of my life. I have seen the
That scene is still awesome, though. I don't care what anyone says.
Okay, so exactly, that's how I got into it. Like, I was hooked the minute the helicopter landed, and it was like 4500x, something's not right. And then it would stop and then it would turn on like, oh shit, something isn't right. What's happening? And then
the pilot like glitched or something.
Yeah. So let's get into it. So the very first Transformers movie, like, again, man, that's one of my first memories in the cinema was Blackout transforming and taking out the sock scent base. Dude, holy shit, that was awesome. That's how I knew, like, okay, there's something awesome about movies, and I want to watch more of them, more than Harry Potter right now. Because that was it, man. Like, Blackout shooting. Okay, so let's get into Transformers itself, the very first Transformers movie. So, let's talk. Of course, the bots themselves. Did you like the Transformers like as they were in 2007?
So, not having watched the original cartoon, I knew what the G1 designs looked like just from like pictures and like different toys and whatnot. Like I remember seeing the original Starscream design on in Beast Wars. But it didn't bother. It still doesn't bother me that most of them look the way they do. It's when we get to the later films and Decepticons are just giant gray blobs is when I get annoyed with it.
Yeah.
But it's like in this one, it's like I loved how each different Autobot and Decepticon all had extremely different, distinctive looks to each one. It was like that's what helps these two teams stand out almost from the rest of the movies for me, as they're also distinct. And while they're not fleshed out per se, like Wanda and Vision in WandaVision or something, not everything's going to get that when you have that many characters. But it's like, again, these are robots from another planet. They at least look different. And
Yeah, exactly.
I liked all the designs, but at the same time, it's like I constantly have to keep reminding myself these movies were also just like giant advertising these movies were just made to advertise new cars, basically.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, okay, well, this movie, okay, for me, for my opinion, I think the visual effects of this first Transformers movie still hold up to this day. I mean, like, Transformers 2007 looks really good in like some of the Marvel movies coming out in like 2018 and 2019. Like, like Optimus look like I can actually see a truck turning into Optimus Prime. I mean, credit where credit's due. I mean, like, they look real and they feel real. I never felt for one second, oh, that looks kind of fake. Like in some of the MCU movies, like when I saw when I saw
the
Mysterio,
Black Panther train scene.
exactly, or Mysterio in Far From Home, I could, okay, that's CGI. But like this one, like I never felt like it was CGI. It felt like, okay, Prime was there and we were seeing him. That's why that shot of like when the very first time Optimus transforms, and you see him like compartmentalized and all the little parts are going somewhere. It was like, that's detail. And like and when I rewatched it for this retrospect, it's like, that's mad detail for 2007. And like this was the same year that the symbiote of Spider-Man 3 was coming in, and like, and looking back, and that didn't look good either, right? I mean, like,
No.
if we're gonna gauge it, I mean, the CGI in 2007 was Order of the Phoenix with that. I mean, despite it being good, like that veil in Order of the Phoenix wasn't that impressive, or like it was shoddy. And the symbiote in Spider-Man 3. So having this be like coming out in 2007 was like, wow, it's mind blowing. And of course, there wasn't like, of course, like, we can't really consider Transformers characters because they don't really have arcs in the movie. They're really just humans. The humans
And
have
taking away Bumblebee's ability to speak, I don't really care that much, but
Yeah.
it's like losing his ability to speak almost takes away part of him being a character, because Bay isn't, he can be, which is weird because it's like I like Armageddon and I like the arcs that some of the characters have in that movie, yet he didn't seem to carry over any of that talent he has to work with actors to this film, because it's like the humans in this movie are for the most part really, really bad.
the humans are bland, and we're gonna get into that later. But
Like they have, I'm sorry, there's no real arc for Sam. Is there?
I mean, okay, so since you brought up, let's segue into that. The humans in this movie are not good. I mean, like, the writing for, like, okay, the movie's fun, and we're gonna get into the fun part later. But like, since you already brought up, the writing for the humans in this movie is so bland. Sam has the bare minimum of character arc. Michaela is nothing but eye candy. Lennox has some reason to go back because, like, oh, I have a wife and I have a kid, I want to see it, but they never expound on it. Like, Tyrese Gibson's just being Tyrese Gibson. There's not really anything special there. I'd say the most impressive one, who actually is like some legitimate personality, was John Turturro as Simmons. Even though he was like,
I actually liked John Voight as the Secretary of Defense better.
yeah,
And
yeah.
I liked what's her face? That
Rachel Taylor.
oh yeah, the hot Australian chick.
Yeah, dude, she was hot. She was more, in my opinion, like, going back.
Why couldn't she come back? Why couldn't we like kick out Sam and Michaela of this franchise and bring back John Voight and Rachel Taylor's characters? They were far more interesting.
They were, yeah, exactly. Like, in my recent rewatch, I actually found out that I actually found it more interesting to watch Rachel Taylor and John Voight than Sam, the main character who has the car as a transformer. And since you brought it up, honestly, why couldn't we just have Rachel Taylor come back as the girlfriend for Sam in part 3 instead
Ugh,
of
I
having
don't even want to
Sam
get
and
into
girl
part
show?
3.
I really don't understand.
There's nothing part 3 did that was good in my. I hate part 3, but it's like following up on what you said. Sam is such a bad protagonist. What is there to like about him? He's not brave. He's just kind of stupid. I mean, hanging out. What he basically does is just kind of hang out. Like, yeah, he does run with the cube, but it's like, honestly, Michaela is a far more interesting character to me than Sam is. Michaela actually has a story to her character. She has a past which they kind of expand upon in this one, at least with her dad, what she went through growing up, kind of why she is the way she is. And it's like, I did like how they kind of expand on her character. She's not just like a hot idiot. Like, Michaela had stuff and characters and stuff going on with her. Yeah, she did just kind of fall into this adventure in the dumbest way possible. But she was free to leave at any point if she wanted to. Sam was stuck in the middle of this. She wasn't.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
she chose to stay. And like, even at the end, when Josh Duhamel was like, girl, get out of here. And she's like, no, she voluntarily helped keep Bumblebee in the action to help the fight. So mega props to the character of Michaela.
Exactly. And the problem is, like, she is where she, like, again, like, most of the time now that you mention it, most of the time she is eye candy, but like now they mention it, she does have at least some semblance of like personality. The thing with Sam is his motivation is, I want the car to get the girl. And then, I mean, I'm caught in this alien blood food, and I guess I gotta complain because I'm the main character. I was like, well, then you're like the bare minimum of plot. I mean, like that, like you're not interesting exactly. I mean, like and as we
he had no arc.
Yeah, exactly.
He didn't strive to want anything. And by the time he got what he wanted, which was the car, it's like, okay, arc completed. But then going forward, it was just like, just there. I mean, it was never established that he was like afraid of anything. I mean, he was afraid of his car chasing him, but I wouldn't call being afraid of your car chasing you and then running with the Allspark really like any form of an arc for his character. He just did what he was told and randomly changed motivations in the middle of the movie. It didn't really make much. No, it was literally the bare bones of look at this kid try and be cool. And I am sorry, Shia LaBeouf, I still can't stand him in these movies. All he does is yell and scream.
It would have made more sense if like he was like, if Bay wrote him as, not Bay, because Bay didn't even write this. Like if the writers in the movie wrote him as, I'm a timid kid and I don't want to fight, but then now he's caught in this war and he has to run and he has to fight with the Autobots. Yeah, that would make sense, but like nothing really. I mean, like and to be fair, I mean, like what you're really focused on is like the robots themselves, and I do like the gradual build-up. Like you see Blackout attack first, and then you get the gradual like, oh, there's something wrong with this car, and then you see from the military side, and you see more from Rachel Taylor and John Voight. Like that frenzy scene was badass. Like when she was hacking, like when she was listening to like the signal, and then Frenzy was hacking the plane. That was awesome. And then I just felt like Sam was the one they were focusing on, and he was on the poster with Michaela, and yet, ironically, he was the least interesting out of all the three. Because like remember, Transformers 2007 has three main storylines, and the Transformers just revolve around it. It's Sam and Michaela, the military, and the hackers. And then the hackers disappear, and Sam and military are at the final battle, which is like, I get it because you want to focus on Sam, but like ironically, he's the least interesting out of the three.
Very. He's not. I can't. it's like when they put Adrian Brody as like the main lead of being a badass in Predators. It's just like, I get what you're doing, but some people are just not cut out to be like a badass lead in an action film. And it's like, it pulls me out of it. And especially, like I said, just listening to him, how am I supposed to take him serious when he screams the way he does through half the film? And we're also getting interjected with like awful jokes from his parents. It's like, oh my, oh. There's nothing to say about his parents aside from they're terrible in all three films, except for like small scenes here and there.
Yeah, there are small scenes. There are small scenes where I do like. In fact, there's one scene in particular. It's like, okay, props to the movie for having some emotional depth, and it's in the next
one, but not in this one.
Yeah, but like not his parents are just annoying. This one, it's like I can't like exactly like it was really like unintentionally the movie actually made the characters of John Turturro, John Voight, Rachel Taylor, and even that black guy. What was his name? I can't remember the actor. No, not
Anthony Anderson.
Yeah, Anthony Anderson. They were more interesting than the actual like main focus of the story, which sucks. I mean, I feel bad. Like if Sam was written better, I might have cared more. But like going back, I was like, yeah, I don't care for.
Well, when I'm watching Rachel Taylor try to figure out the code, what's more interesting, watching her try to figure out who's been doing the hacking and why, or Sam, stay off my grass, Mom, why did you put bejewels all over my chihuahua? It's like, oh, fuck off. Like, come on. We don't want these massively quirky characters like this. Like, this is annoying. We're watching Transformers. Like, it doesn't happen. We'll cover this when we get to 4 and 5. But it's like, Sam is just a shit lead character. He really is. And in my opinion, he just gets worse as time goes on. And I'm glad they retired the character after 3 because I was done with him at that point.
Yeah, I was done with him also. It's like he was tolerable in 1 and 2. I just can't stand him in 3. Like after I rewatched, I just can't stand him in 3. So like Michael Bay films are known for their action, and then I guess we're gonna go to like the main brunt of this review, the action in this Transformers movie. Like we've been kind of shitting on it for a bit, but we got to give it praise too. The action in this movie is out of this world. Honestly, I love the action in Transformers 2007. The Scorponok fight is still one of the best visually satisfying. Mm-hmm. Dude, like, let's talk about that. I mean, like, let's talk about the action. Okay, so we have 2 main battles: the Scorponok fight and the final battle, the Mission City battle. Let's talk the Scorponok fight
which is untopped. Mission City is like still probably my favorite.
Still the best Transformers fight out of these 5. It is still the best. Like the way they handle it. But okay, we'll leave that for the.
We'll do Scorponok first. Yeah.
Yeah, Scorponok. The Scorponok fight is like Michael Bay was giving us a taste of what's coming at the very end of the movie, but the Scorponok fight at the midpoint or even like the 25% point in the movie was awesome. I love that short, like the tail. It's about to like inject Josh Duhamel, and Tyrese Gibson was like wow, and like and then, okay, here's the thing. It showcases how powerful these Decepticons are. Like the main fault that a lot of these movies have after Transformers 2007 was the fact that the Decepticons were so weak after this.
Yeah. They built them up in this film to be like extremely hard to defeat. I think it was like there was only a specific like missile or something that could damage them.
Yeah, Saber rounds. They said it, Saber rounds.
And then after this movie, it's just drop napalm on them and they're dead.
It was so stupid. Like
I mean, that's when we got to the gray blob Decepticons anyways. The ones with no features.
Scorpion had a unique design. Like he had drills on his hands, on his pincers. He had a tail. He could shoot out energy from his fucking like claws. I mean, like, it was a legit design. Like, oh shit, like he has some uniqueness to it. And then like, and it was hard to kill because like remember Lennox had to call in 3 planes just to injure Scorponok, and then he still got away.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, that was awesome. And then like the Mission City battle itself, all the Mission City battle is top tier in Transformers action. I love it.
Yeah, I agree. Mission City was awesome. Trying to keep the cube. Let's talk about Megatron before we get to Mission City.
Oh yeah, Megatron.
So, or like actually, you know what? Let's before we get to even Megatron, let's cover the basic story. So it was the cube to Earth a long fucking time ago, and Megatron came right after, but crash landed in Antarctica.
Yeah. Exactly. As I said, that even in this movie, there's problems with his writing because Megatron crash landed in Antarctica because his navigation system fucked up because of Earth's gravity. It's like, okay.
Which here's what I don't understand about Transformers. Sometimes they need ships, like in 4, and sometimes they just turn into comets.
Yeah. Weird lore.
How does that work? I don't get it.
Like, okay, the explanation is, okay, I've watched the behind the scenes, and the explanation that Michael Bay and the writers gave was, the way that the Autobots transferred to Earth was they shed their like exterior skin, so it's like their base form, and they transform into these comets, so that they're faster and they don't carry much weight. So when Bumblebee did that signal thing, Optimus was supposed to come down with his Autobots because it was already a signal, and then when they scan other parts of the like other vehicles, that's when they get their exterior armor back. That's the explanation that they gave.
So this is going to be a really stupid question probably, but maybe it's a plot hole. So if they're able to do that and like move really fast, why don't they just like weaponize that? Kind of like how they did in idiotic TLJ with the hold-on maneuver.
No, because they're okay.
I mean, what's more effective, shooting something or flying at it at the speed of a
because
comet?
I mean, it's just meant for travel. That's what from what I understand. Like, it's only meant for.
Yeah, you can weaponize anything though. But I get what you're saying, but
but you can't weaponize light speed.
Here's the other thing.
You can't weaponize light speed. I don't care what DLJ says. You can't weaponize light speed whatsoever. It's a mode of fucking transportation.
So here's the thing though that I don't get. When did the cube come to Earth? Did they establish the year?
They didn't establish the year. All it was is like the cube came first, and then Megatron came shortly after.
So here's what I also don't understand. So if the cube was as big as it was, and they said they built the Hoover Dam around it, how did nobody else in the world like ever see that thing and be like, look at this giant monolithic cube that's like the size of a fucking building? How did like ancient races that were in North America not like see it and like worship it or something?
I have no idea. There's never
such fucking slop. That's what I hate about all of these movies. Such sloppy bullshit when they do this back in time garbage. But so okay, whatever. The cube's here. For some reason, nobody ever saw it. Megatron crashed in Antarctica. We don't know how long ago. So where has Optimus and his team, what have they been doing since Megatron's been gone? Because Megatron has at least been in the Antarctica for like, he had to have been there for thousands of years to be covered in ice and found back in the early 1900s or whenever he was found. So it's like, Megatron had to have been here for a long time. So what has Optimus been doing in the interim time when Megatron left Cybertron to go get the cube and was lost?
Your guess is as good.
And if all the Decepticons were on Earth already, why weren't they? Were they looking for the cube? I mean, why did they wait? If all of those Decepticons were here for God knows how long, never mind. Never mind.
Dude, you're asking for plot details in a Transformers movie.
Yeah, but I'm entitled to ask these questions.
Yeah, exactly. You are, but like you think it's gonna be explained, dude. This is the same movie.
No.
This, like even the barest minimum, like this is the same movie where Tyrese Gibson straight up says, F-22 pilots would never fly below buildings. That's alien. That ain't friendly. And then a few scenes later, F-22 pilots fly below buildings. So the movie contradicts itself in the
Well, I'm
same
plot
scene.
details in a film where we have a masturbation joke. So
Oh.
I
Well, that was funny actually. That was actually really funny. And like,
no, that was just awkward and uncomfortable.
and like, because like, I was asking my mom when I first watched it, what does that mean? And then she's like, no. And honestly, like
Someday.
the best joke in that movie was the donuts, where like that Anthony Anderson was eating all these donuts, and then the epic guy was like, they put in food to test your guilt. If you don't touch it, you're guilty. I ate the whole plate. They walk right through. I won't
Yeah,
say.
see, that's the humor that worked. I thought the humor with Sam and his parents was bad, but I thought it worked for everybody else.
Yeah, exactly. Like even that.
Even even the comedy with the Transformers was bad. Like the peeing on John Turturro,
Yeah,
I thought was really like,
that was like,
wow.
That was that was to appeal to 6-year-olds, and to be fair, as a 6-year-old watching it the first time, I laughed my ass off. But now it's like, oh, it's just awkward now, and it was so dated. I was like, oh, okay, well, what can you do?
Oh, he got peed on. But let's jump to so let me hit Megatron real quick.
Okay.
So
yeah.
I did think so I mean they went like uber cartoony. So as soon as he unfreezes, the first thing he says, I am Megatron. Like, really? That's the first thing he says is who he is to a bunch of okay, whatever. I mean it was corny, but it was like enjoyable.
Yeah.
So Megatron's design, I really like Megatron's design
love Megatron's
and his voice.
Because it was Hugo Weaving who voiced it. I was like, I love
Awesome.
Megatron. Like he had this mace that he swung around, and he turned into this like alien jet plane. And it's like, and I was watching behind the scenes, and like Michael Bay said, we can never use Megatron as a gun because it's way too cartoony. He's like, yes.
Except at one point, Megatron turned his arms into a gun in the Mission City battle.
Yeah, well, but okay, that's fine.
No, I get what you're saying. But so I'm going to reference our friend Vince real quick because he gave the perfect description for Starscream, the one that I've wanted to see. And I hated Starscream's design, but Vince described him perfectly. A giant Dorito-sized robot or Dorito-shaped robot.
Yeah,
He was a giant silver Dorito. He looked terrible.
Yeah, exactly. But guess what? I like his vehicle form. I like the F-22. The F-22
Well, his vehicle form was awesome, but his robot form was awful.
Yeah,
He was like the robot version of like the Hunchback of Notre Dame or something.
And this is the one time, honestly, this is the one time Starscream is badass, because in the Mission City battle, he comes down, he transforms into his robot form, albeit Dorito form. He takes out his Gatling guns, he shoots Ironhide and Ratchet in the stomach, he hits them with the missiles, takes them up, flies up, transforms again, just to give Megatron that way to take Sam without any protection. Like, that's
Mm-hmm.
the one time badass. That's it. Nowhere else.
Yeah, because anything badass he does in 3 is undone by how he dies.
No, actually, there's another time. When the F-22s are flying down, he was the one who took out all the F-22s. Like, what is that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay, that was cool.
And he was like half transformed while he was doing it. That was cool.
Yeah, that was awesome. So yeah,
but Mission City.
Okay, Mission City still my favorite.
Launch into it.
I love Mission City. Like, okay, real quick, the score for this movie is awesome. So like
yes, the music, I will give it. The music in all of these is good. Yeah, that is the one consistent thing, is the music in all of them is really good.
Yeah, exactly. And I love like the slow build up, like the Transformers, like when they're all coming the mission scene, and like it's like, oh, 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 like oh shit, like it's about to go down, and then like Starscream coming down and shooting Ironhide, shooting Bumblebee so hard that he breaks his legs. It's like, okay, yes, I like that. And then that tank, I have no idea what the tank is, but that tank coming to like here's the thing, some call it Devastator and some call it Brawl, and from my
It's Devastator in the movie.
okay, that's not, that doesn't count, because see, another one of those, like Devastator's in Revenge of the Fallen, so what is this, like it's like younger brother, like what the fuck? I don't understand.
No, that's just Michael Bay being lazy and completely forgetting the name he gave a Transformer in the first movie.
To be fair, he used the same shot of the arrival of the Autobots and Decepticons in the other movie.
I could not believe that when I rewatched Revenge of the Fallen the other day. I was like, oh my God.
We're getting.
I mean, it's cool, but it's like, that's beyond lazy. Like, that's what studios do when they're like in extreme financial like dire straits, when they're like bleeding money. It's like, shit, make us a movie but reuse shots, like when they did Superman 4 and they reused all the shots of him flying. It's like you just grabbed crap and threw it at the screen to see what happened. But anyways, with Transformers 1, but yeah, so probably my favorite one, I think the scene that I love the most in Mission City is probably like they're building up to what the plan is going to be, which none of that plan makes any sense. Get the cube to the top of the building to airlift it away when they know there's Decepticons that are jets. What fucking difference does it? Megatron can fly, Blackout can fly, and Starscream can fly. So what the hell is this stupid plan of get it to a helicopter? Stupid fucking plan, but whatever. So they're building up to the plan of everyone do this. This is how we're going to do it. And Michaela's like, Sam, I'm glad I met you. And I'm like, yeah, I feel the chemistry with these two. But then you just like, you hear the music swelling, and in the distance, you hear Megatron shout, Decepticons attack. And then just boom, all out war begins.
Oh, that's awesome. I love that. The music, the way music swells, and like yeah, and then Aaron had actually like car fire, and then you see Optimus just coming in, like he crashes to the battlefield, he transforms to like Megatron, and then like his badass moment, he throws Jazz, his two pieces,
which he ripped in half.
That was so cool to see. As a 6-year-old, I was like, holy shit, like Prime, and then he transforms like, yeah, and like he grabs Prime, like humans don't deserve to live, and like Optimus like they deserve to choose for themselves, like then you will die with them. And like as a 6-year-old, I was like, this is the greatest film I have seen in my entire life. And then Megatron's like, join them in Extinction. And it's like, dude, like,
some of the best one-liners like ever in an act. It's like, I love the one-liners. Like you just said, join them in Extinction. He turns his arms into a giant gun and just blasts Optimus with it.
Oh, that was awesome.
And then he turns back into his like jet form and like flies through multiple buildings. I'm like, and people had a problem with Man of Steel showing a shitload of destruction, but they're fine with this. Okay. So okay, so here's where we seem to run into something I can't stand about the character of Sam.
Yeah.
How come every time like these Transformers are fighting, Sam always is like underfoot all of them and almost getting squashed? Why doesn't he just run in the opposite direction? He did it in this one, he did it in the forest battle in Revenge of the Fallen, and he does it in 3 during the end battle, I'm pretty sure.
I'm sure.
But it's like, why do they keep doing that? It's like, kid, nobody's that stupid. If 2 behemoths are fighting over you, go in the opposite direction. That when Optimus Prime openly says, if worse comes to worse, Sam, put the cube in my chest, I'll sacrifice myself and my spark to save the planet. If they knew that's what it could do, why wouldn't the plan just be hey, ram the cube into Megatron's chest to murder him. I mean, I get that they did it, but it's almost like, hey, if I'm going to die, if we're both going to die, kill me. It's like, no, just kill the bad guy.
Yeah, well, there you go. Another example of bad. Like this movie wasn't written well. You're asking for good writing in a Transformers movie, directed by
I'm
Michael
asking
Bay.
for quality in something that's not hard to do. I mean, you and I have talked about it off air with so many films where it's like, why didn't they just do X? And it's like, that would make so much more sense. But yeah, so I still like Mission City. Mission City is a blast to watch, and it's really stupid that the world still didn't know who the Transformers were after that.
Yeah. Holy shit, that was something like
Bullshit.
Megatron really flew into buildings. So many people should have witnessed that. So like, what the fuck?
A car got turned into a Transformer. A Mountain Dew machine got turned into a Transformer. What happened to these things? Revenge of the Fallen. No, that was the first one.
Yeah, exactly.
Those things.
I don't know what happened to those things. They probably got shot off screen. Who the fuck knows, dude? For all we know, they fucked off and then they're still out there. We don't know.
Hey, that's what happened with Blackout. Because Blackout, no, the Barricade. Yeah, Barricade, because he came back in the next one or 3.
Yeah, exactly. He came back in 5.
Oh, he was back in 5. Jeez, yeah. I haven't rewatched 5 yet. No, I'm dreading that one.
All right.
But I did think it was cool how they decided to get rid of them. I actually would give them credit. That was creative. Instead of like them in like some underground bunker, they were like, we'll dump them to the lowest spot in the ocean. And I'm like, that's pretty fucking smart, actually.
Yeah, it's actually really smart.
Hey, then they fucked that up in the next movie. So.
Oh yeah, so like that was useless. All right, so yeah, Sam jumps the cube in Megatron's chest. Everyone goes home happy. Cue Linkin Park song, and Sam McKay gets on top of Bumblebee. And now let's move on to what we've been all wanting to talk about since.
Oh my god!
Since August or July, Transformers: Revenge of the Fallen. Now here's straight up. I'll say it right now. I enjoy this movie, but it is, from a critical standpoint, one of the worst written movies I've ever seen in my life. It's dumb as shit, but it's fun. Okay.
So my first impressions of this movie are haunting, and I have to live with it. Every year, I have to fucking get reminded of what my first impressions were of this film. Every year, everyone out there knows, Facebook memories shows you what you've done over the years.
Yeah.
And every fucking year, on the date that I went and saw it, I made a post on Facebook, and it said, Transformers Revenge of the Fallen, 2 thumbs up.
Oh my god.
I have to see that every goddamn year for the rest of my life.
Okay, here.
And remember that I said I loved this when it came out.
Mine's worse. Because like after that whole Transformers movie, I was like, after that whole Transformers movie, I was like, oh, well, what now? Like, I don't know what to do right now, because I'm confused. So what happens now to Transformers? And I was like, well, then my mom was like, Santi, they're making a Transformers 2. I was like, what? They're making a Transformers 2, Santi.
Oh, and you were over the moon.
Oh, I was, dude. I was like, holy shit. So every day I would check like news on it, like, oh, what's happening, for like a whole last year. And I was like, what's happening with Transformers? And remember, this was the time where it was like, I got into other stuff too. I started getting superhero movies. I started getting to Iron Man. I started getting to like other stuff, like expounding my like filmography. And then that shot of like that first trailer of Transformers: Revenge of the Fallen came out. I was like, holy shit, I have to watch this right now. So then my mom was like, took me opening night to Transformers: Revenge of the Fallen. And I remember going up the terrace saying, that was the best fucking movie ever. I remember screaming at everyone, like, that was the best movie ever. And then I rewatched it for this, like, holy shit, this is bad. This is badly written. I will never forget myself like screaming out like that was the best, like legit. That's how I knew the movie worked. Like after Revenge of the Fallen, I straight up went to the toy store and I bought myself Transformers toys based on the.
Nice.
Yeah, like I was 8 years old and I was like, holy shit, I need Transformers in my life right now. Like, so yeah, man, like Revenge of the Fallen at the time was my favorite movie of 2009. Well, now obviously like, okay, well, now it's like,
I was gonna say, is it still?
it's not. It's really not. But like, holy shit, at the time it was, because like, man, it had like, back then I thought it had the best plot ever, and now I realize, holy shit, this is dumb. This is one of the dumbest things I've ever seen. Okay, so straight up,
Such a stupid film. Everything about this movie is so fucking dumb. Everything about it, but it's like, it's weird because it's like everything about this. I mean, everything about 2, 3, 4, and 5 are all incredibly stupid. All of them are incredibly stupid, but it's like the difference is almost, it's like 2 and 4 are fun dumb, whereas 3 and 5 are just
painful. Yeah.
dumb. Like, I can't stand 3 and 5, but it's like I can at least have fun with 2 and 4. And it's like this one, it's dumb, but it's like I at least enjoy it because it's like, and this one actually has something that I will give a major positive to with the arc of Sam and Michaela's relationship. I still don't see any chemistry between these two in the slightest. But again, Michaela is at least a much stronger character than Sam. And it's like, in retrospect, why couldn't she have just been the main character? I mean, maybe it's because back in 2007, a boy had to be the main lead of a Transformers movie, toys made for boys or something.
Yeah.
But it's like, that's why I'm glad when we hit Bumblebee, they did it properly. But it's like, I wish Michaela had been the main character because it's like, she's more interesting than Sam.
Okay, but
and the arc that they go through in this, I genuinely enjoyed watching, even though, like I said, the chemistry between the two actors isn't that strong. I still can enjoy what they're attempting to do with these two.
Okay, credit where credit is due. To be fair, and the arc of Sam is better here than in Transformers 2007, because like he does have a better arc in terms of like his character development. Like, for example, he doesn't want to do anything with Transformers anymore. He wants to live a normal life. And I don't want anything to do anymore with. I want to go, to have a normal college. Like, I have to say goodbye to Bumblebee. I'm growing up, and I don't want to be part of this anymore. And then he's thrust back into the game. It's like, I guess I have a responsibility to the alien race I befriended. So yeah, I'm gonna do it again. Which is like, okay, I get.
He didn't even really have a choice. He just got thrust back into it when the Pretender tried to murder him, and suddenly they were on the run and abducted by the Decepticons, and so it's like almost, I can agree, but at the same time, he was a wanted man, so he didn't really have a choice.
Yeah, I get. Yeah, that does make sense. And okay, so before we get into the action, we have to. So yeah, the characters again, like Sam, he's somewhat interesting. Just not as interesting, more than his first debut, but yeah,
not much more. He's still irritating and screams a lot.
Michaela, again, they have like some seeds planted, like, oh, her father's out of prison, and she's doing this auto repair shit, and yeah, that we never see about it. Lennox and Epps have devolved into military guys who.
Yep, they're just bog standard military men. They have no story anymore.
Sam's roommate was funny in some scenes, but I found him cringe most of the time. John Turturro, I actually love him more because like he was fired from S7, and he has a bigger like part. Like he came back to like prove that his theory is correct. Like, the Seekers are out there. There's something else here that I love that. I love that mystery box thing where like there's something else here that's not the Allspark. There's something more hidden, and even though it's dumb, we'll get to that later. But like, I like the idea of there's something else here. So okay, that was. I like the new Transformers. I like the fact that here they haven't devolved into gray blobs yet. I mean, there's some.
The Decepticons did.
The Decepticons did, but like Sideswipe, RC, they were unique enough to be like, okay, yeah. So I guess we should get into the writing of this movie right now. And
it's fucking horrendous. This is some of the worst writing I've
The script was written in 3 weeks.
Seen.
The script was they said the script was written in 3 weeks. It shows. It absolutely shows.
Yeah, because it's like this movie doesn't. This also begins the trend of the Transformers movies that I absolutely hate. This begins where everything on planet Earth, the Transformers were here a long time ago. And it's like, oh my, enough. And it's like this one with, they were there in 17,000 BC and the Fallen is trying to, this begins the trend of, and they even like say it at the beginning of the Last Night trailer, 10 trillion billion planets in the cosmos. Why do they keep coming here? That's a legit fucking question. Why do they keep coming to Earth? And everything happens on Earth. The Allspark happens to be on Earth. The Fallen happened to come to Earth to build his machines. Unicron happens to be Earth. The fucking lockdown happened to come to Earth and cause the Ice Age. It's so dumb. It's like, and this one started it. It's like, stop. We live in a universe filled with billions of stars and planets. Why do they keep coming here?
So yeah, I hate this plot point.
And Fallen didn't even have a legit reason to want to terraform Earth and steal the Energon, when again, he could have just gone to other planets and done it. What was it he hated about Earth so much in 17,000 BC? But for a movie called Revenge of the Fallen,
he only gets like 5 minutes. He
has 3 scenes. Saturn, when he crashes to Earth in the middle of the movie, and then when he shows up at the end of the film. The Fallen was useless.
Fallen was for a movie called Revenge of the Fallen. He was not in it a lot.
And what revenge was he getting? His revenge against his prime brothers? They were all dead, and Optimus was How do you have descendants for robots, anyways? How does that make sense?
I don't know, and I don't want to. I don't want to know. Like,
especially since they say in 5 that Quintessa made them all. So how old are all these fucking things?
And then like the plot points are so shit. Like, for example, like the very beginning, they say, okay, the very beginning, like before even the fucking title card, they say Optimus has a voiceover like our worlds have met before and all that, and like it shows like the cavemen like we're like discovered the Fallen and his brothers making the ship. I'm like, okay, that's cool. And then they say that the Egyptian, like at the start of the third act, the Egyptians knew where the Matrix was because the Primes left it to them. But Jetfire legit said that the battle for the Matrix happened shortly after the Fallen and his brothers came to Earth. They were primitive men there. Where the fuck were the Egyptians? They weren't educated enough.
Right, because they looked like Aztecs also in that flashback.
Yeah, no, they were Egyptian. Okay, if you're gonna establish that the Egyptians knew where the Matrix was, because the message was when Dawn aligns the dagger, step 3 kings will reveal the doorway, and the 3 kings were based on the 3 kings of the pyramids of Giza, then why didn't you just show Egyptians at the very beginning and Egyptians discovering the Fallen? Why did it have to be primitive men? Like, I don't get it. Like it's just like
nothing in the Nothing in the flashbacks ever make any sense in any of these movies. All of the flashbacks are always stupid, and none of them work, like, at all. They just retcon shit that doesn't make sense.
Like okay.
But I guess
Here's another one. Here's another one. Here's another one, Chad. Okay. And I swear, like they never explain it. Okay, so the whole point of like the first act of Original Fallen is like Soundwave, who's just like this, and who's just chilling in space.
oh, they fucked up Soundwave so badly.
Hacks the satellite to find out where Megatron is. Like, okay, fine, fair enough, right? And he sends Ravage to Amelie, a cool design for Ravage. He sends Ravage to steal the cube, and then the cube.
Ravager was awesome. Yes.
Yeah, and the cube, the cube shard goes to like the doctor, and then they all go down to like the deepest trench of the sea. And
I love this scene. This was the worst written scene I've ever seen in a film.
And Megatron's body is like not decomposed whatsoever after being like there for 2 years. Like, dude, the Titanic, the strongest ship in history of our world, decomposed after 2 weeks down there. Megatron should be at least like there should be nothing of him. But like you can make the argument, okay, it's Cybertronian metal, so it's not. But no, I'm sorry.
And the rest of the Decepticons are just fine down at the bottom of the Laurentian abyss somehow. Somehow the pressure and the cold isn't doing anything to them.
That's
so then it's we need parts, kill the little one, and then it's like they said like 5 went down or something, and then they kill one of them. They don't do anything after they kill him. Then they stab Megatron with the Allspark. It comes back and they're like, oh, now there's 6 of them coming up. It's like, no.
One died.
That is like a prime example of fucking garbage writing. How do you forget what you just did in your own scene?
Oh my god, I cannot.
I loved watching that. I laughed so hard.
and it's not just that, Chad. Okay, so here's the whole plot point, right? So they get this. They stab Megatron with that Allspark shot, and Megatron comes back to life. It's like, okay, so then by that logic, why couldn't you just do it to Optimus Prime? Like, why couldn't you? Because like,
I didn't even remember all of that.
Like, okay, so here's
because of the magical shard that somehow got on Sam's sweatshirt.
Yeah, exactly.
That he didn't know was there for 2 fucking years.
If an Allspark shard can revive any Autobot or Decepticon, why couldn't you just revive Prime? Why did you have to go through like Washington D.C.
all this bullshit
and all the bullshit of like finding the Matrix and then going to war in Egypt when you could have just like, I have the Allspark shard, I'm gonna go to the U.S. base where there's security, revive Prime, and that'll be the end of it. But no.
There, movie over. Thank God.
This stupid, unnecessary thing. That is the second worst plot point I've ever seen in a movie. Right below Canto Bight from Last Jedi. That is the second, because at least this one was.
Well,
here's
another good question. Why was the Matrix of Leadership the like thing to turn on the world engine?
I have no idea.
There was no other way to get it going?
No. Like, how did the Matrix of Leadership like turn into dust and then reform after? Like, the Matrix is not found. It's like earned bullshit.
I love. And how does when Sam dies, he goes to Decepticon or whatever robot heaven, and they're just like, "Oh, little hero, look at you! You got shot by Megatron and died. You're a hero. Have the Matrix of Leadership." Right, because Tyrese Gibson and Josh Duhamel, they were clearly pussies who didn't put their lives on the line for the Autobots every fucking day. But somehow Sam is a hero because he's a kid.
Oh
what
my God.
Stupid fucking logic.
He gets shot, like he runs, he gets shot by Megatron. And then he's like, Transformer 7. Have the Matrix of Leadership and revive. It's your birthright. It is your destiny. It is earned. Like, dude, that's bullshit.
That was this was your destiny. I cringed when I rewatched that scene. I was like, oh my God, no.
Here's another thing. If the Fallen was like, okay, I get the whole like, okay, lifting up the weapons of all the militaries like they can't be used. Why didn't John Cena say, okay, use the railgun and shoot the Fallen? Because there's no way at that speed he's gonna stop that thing. There's no way at that speed he's gonna get shot. In all his great prime glory, he's not gonna stop that bullet from hitting him. There's no way.
No.
Because the railgun.
Not the railgun.
Remember, Simmons
said, Devastator to pieces.
Simmons said, okay, steel projectile Mach 7. You know how fast Mach 7 is? The Flash in season 1 went Mach 5 top speed. That means that bullet is faster than the Flash in season 1. There is no way the Fallen can stop that with all his.
This movie is just beyond broken all over it. I mean, this is the same movie where somehow the Smithsonian is abandoned and it turns into a giant airfield, and what's his face? Jetfire is having like a dementia stroke, and suddenly he's just like, and then suddenly they're all in Egypt. It's like, when the fuck did the Transformers have the powers to teleport? He even makes it even worse by saying, well, at least we're still on Earth. How does an ancient Transformer have the powers to teleport from planet to planet, but modern day ones have to turn into asteroids?
Oh my God. That is so true. That is so true. Coupled with the fact that they use scenes from the first Transformers movie, and not just that, they use scenes from the early parts of the movie. If you didn't notice, it's when Soundwave's like, Soundwave acknowledges, pursuer, retrieve it. Like, okay, I'm gonna transform now. And then, like an hour later, it's like Decepticons mobilize. It's time. They didn't even change the movement. They did the same shot, and they're like, transformer again. Like, dude, what the fuck? I'm like, we're not an idiot. We know this. Okay, here's another thing. Blackout got shot to death in Transformers 2007, and for some reason he's back. There was no explanation. Like, even as an alien, like,
was it Blackout or was it just another helicopter?
Dude, I'm pretty sure it was Blackout. It looked like
maybe, I don't know. I mean, maybe it was. Here's another question. Where the hell? Okay, so Alice is a pretender. Where did she come from?
I have no idea.
Who was she recruited by? Like, the goal was to get. What was the goal of all of this? That's what I don't get. Like, what? So they want the information that Sam had got somehow. Remember. But how did Alice know to go after him when it was just as easy later to grab him? Added bullshit to make the movie longer than it already was. At least it wasn't as long as Age of Extinction.
Dumb.
I mean, this movie is just it's literally got nothing but problems.
But yeah, it does. But you know what? I have fun with it. Despite having done it, there are parts I enjoy. Like, for example, the forest battle is kick-ass. I do like the forest battle. It's a nice, Transformer on Transformer battle. I like the each battle. A lot of people don't. I do actually, because I like the procedure that they do, where they firebomb everyone. Even though like it was so hard to kill them in the last movie, and now for some reason like this is the start of the gray blob Transformers, which I hate. I really do.
And where did they come from? Were they all just sitting on Saturn? And whatever happened with that? Everything on Saturn, spawning like the new Decepticon army or whatever. How come Saturn is never brought up again?
I have no idea.
And why was the Fallen living on Saturn? And when did Megatron go from the leader to... So what happened? Did he know the Fallen was on Saturn when he originally went to Earth and crash landed in Antarctica? Or how did he not know how to land properly?
It's just another one of those,
Am I just supposed to shut up and accept it?
No. We can question it all you want, but we're not going to get an answer. You're asking plot points from Transformers to the Fallen, Chad. Where do you think we are?
So, I will say that the movie does one thing really well. I kind of touched on it earlier, but I do like this, and this is another reason why I hate 3 as much as I do.
Yeah.
Again, building up the relationship with Sam and Michaela, and it's like these two have been through like 2 major battles. They've been through life-changing adventures. They've become extremely close. This whole movie was building up to Sam finally admitting he loves Michaela, which is so weird because it's like, not to sound like sexist or anything, but it's like Michaela fell in love with Sam, but Sam, who was like in the first movie, oh my God, Michaela's so hot, she's so hot, she's so hot. He's the one having trouble saying he loves her, which fine, whatever. But then it's like he's the one who initiates it first that saying she loves him, and they build up the whole movie towards him finally saying it, and he does. And it's like these two are like soldiers basically, who one died and was brought back.
Yeah.
Their love is like, I think that their arc wasn't written particularly well, but they still had a relationship arc that I thought was completed. And we'll start with it on the next episode of 3, but it's like,
yeah,
I don't understand why they threw. I understand the off-air shit, what happened with Megan Fox and the franchise, but it was just, again, it was just more lazy fucking writing that it seems like this whole franchise is like proud of having bad writing.
Yeah. So yeah, Revenge of the Fallen, we spent more of the time like trashing it than actually liking it. But here's the thing, Revenge of the Fallen to me is like, it's a comfort movie. Like even I acknowledge its problems. I do. It is riddled with plot holes. It is absolutely riddled with plot holes. It is one of the worst written movies I've ever seen. But I can still enjoy it for like the dumb shit. It's just like for the dumb shit that it is. Like one of my favorite moments. One of my favorite moments with this movie is like, I remember I was sick with like, the flu, and my mom like got me like burgers and fries, and then she put on Revenge of the Fallen, and I remember just enjoying it. Like, yeah, it's dumb as fuck. It is. It is like one of the dumbest movies I've ever seen, but it has its merits. I can admit it's stupid and dumb, but I can still enjoy it in that ironic way. Like right now, like I can like when I watch this movie, I can like crack a beer and be like, yeah, you know, it's a Friday night, and like I haven't seen this movie in a while. Crack it open, you know, get drunk a bit, watch it. But like, but for this movie to actually be good, like it's not good. It's not already in the characters are bland. The story's ass. It's not. But personally, for me, it's a guilty pleasure. It is my number one guilty pleasure. Like even that shit. Like I didn't even understand that. I was like, oh, there's 6 of them. Like no, there's 5. One died.
And we never saw what happened to the other ones who came up. Megatron flew through the battleship and flew into space. What'd the other ones do?
Oh my God.
It was the same as in the middle of the movie when the Fallen came to Earth and they took out that giant aircraft carrier. The Fallen's just standing there like, rah! It's like, in the middle of the ocean, bud. What are you going to do now? And then he just fucked off until the end of the movie.
Yeah.
And Jetfire did the same. Oh, and I hated that scene of Jetfire too. They give that giant exposition dump of, this is what you need to do.
Yeah.
I think I was listening to another podcast and they put it perfectly. Jetfire was like a pirate version of a Transformer, basically. But it's like, he did the same. He's like, go on, go find the matrix of leadership. And it's like, come with us?
Yeah. No.
We haven't even covered the three worst Transformers in the film. Kids and Mudflap and Wheelie.
Oh, those were I didn't even want to cover
the racist bots and Wheelie. The cringiest scene when he was humping Michaela's leg.
Oh, it was so bad.
Who thought that was funny?
I have no idea. I get pervy producers, I guess.
Yeah, Michael Bay, we know you want to do that to her, and maybe he actually did at some point, but it's like, we get it. Quit living out your fantasy through these Transformers and the camera.
Yeah. This is for kids, not for like weird choices. Ah,
Yeah, so I
yeah,
don't, I mean, yeah, it's dumb, but for some reason, I did have, like, I had fun laughing at it and being like, this is stupid. And it's just, there's something about the actual adventure they had in this film that was like fun to watch, which, like I said, is the opposite of how I feel about three. So
yeah.
I don't know. Do you have anything left for this one?
Nah, I really don't. I covered my bases. Like, yeah, they're like the movie is badly written, but there I would watch it for the forest fight and Egypt final battle. I do, I would, and the visual effects are still good. They're still good. So yeah, so that's it. So the first week of April is done, and just how we're doing this. It's gonna be way more fun as it gets on. So this is Santino signing off, and
um, I'm Chad. Adios.
so next week we'll be talking Dark of the Moon and Age of Extinction. So see you guys. See you guys.